What are the common cheating format which people have been doing it? Because you in the space, you know at least 5, 10 different formats.
So the easiest way is they'll turn voice like ChatGPT voice mode on their phone, turn the volume down as the person like have maybe a button and I speak. We got to know a story that a candidate who has never written a line of code landed a 1.5 CR job just based on Cluely. Okay, because 2 or 3 ways to solve it. One is like, can you build better algorithms to detect it? So when I say better algorithms is like,
I as an organization want to use Fabric or want to use any other, the tools that you mentioned. What are the things that I have to keep in mind?
As a company, I think there are like two different aspects of it.
All these chat GPT is doing more harm right now, at least, than good, because people are using those to create it without even understanding what
And
to
without
say.
even reading it. Happened very recently with one of my developer. Came with like 1,000 line of code. I asked him what's going on in here. Like, I don't know.
Are you implementing some of these agents, AI tools internally?
To name a few, I think in sales.
Hey everyone, welcome to yet another episode of EOD Show. Today on the show, we have a guest who has been involved in this whole AI transformation before this generative AI started. I think his understanding about AI implementation into business use case is immense. I've known Mehul for some time now. I've learned from him a lot of use cases are around. More importantly, because he's building AI tools for businesses to improve their recruitment process. I think there are a lot of insights that we need to pick up from his journey, how he is implementing AI both externally and internally. This is very important because if you're not implementing AI today, we're not talking about AI agents, we're not talking about efficiency. The kind of impact it's already creating is beyond writing emails on ChatGPT. The kind of efficiency it's able to drive is beyond using ChatGPT to ask for your menus or ask for your recipes, etc. It's much deeper than that. One of the key problems that I have personally observed is when we say we use AI, it means we only use ChatGPT, but that's very limited to it. And for a lot of founders, I think it's very important to understand how to get our team aligned to it, how to push the idea of building internal agents, small agents for various function is very important to drive efficiency. And I thought, who can be better than somebody who's already doing it both externally and internally, has a very deep insight of how the ecosystem works. And today on the show, let's welcome Mehul. He's founder of Fabric, a company which is doing AI based interview and assessment for recruitment. I think this is a fabulous idea and this is a very good space to be in. But more importantly, he has got amazing insight and depth on it. So let's welcome. Hey Mehul, welcome to the show.
Hello, Ankit. Glad to be here.
Yeah, why don't you give a brief introduction about yourself for our guests to understand who you are?
Sure. At heart, I am a technologist. Always loved building things. I did my graduation from ISM. And since then, right out of the college, before AI was cool, I've been working in this domain. For last 7 years, I've been on this entrepreneurial journey. Before Fabric, I was running an AI services company. So for last 7 years, I have uh, gotten into the depth of building these AI use cases at various scales, various domains, work with different type of companies. Have seen companies evolve from no data practice to adopting these complex AI use cases on scale. uh, yeah, so that's what I have been doing. And then after doing that for 7 years, felt like I was cooking a lot of meals that I couldn't eat myself. So I thought, why not start with a product journey of myself? And then we thought that because I was from a services company, hiring and recruitment was always a pain. So we thought that what a better problem to solve than the pain that we have felt most. And then that's how the Fabric was founded.
Amazing. I think we'll have a quite a show picking up your insights on it because you have years of experience working on it. You're building a tool right now. So let's get to it.
Sure, let's go.
So Mehul, for the audience, tell me what Fabric do.
So if I have to put in a nutshell, what we are trying to do is build AI interviewers for hiring. What that means is if you're hiring for a job, the typical process looks like uh, a recruiter today rolls out a JD. They get like thousands of applications. They spend a lot of time sifting through these resumes manually, then call these people manually for screening, getting their basic details, and then they do a round one of interview, which is like the first check of how, like the first step where you start judging their skills. So, what we are trying to do is trying to automate the process starting from how do you screen
Hmm.
to how do you take the first round of interviews.
Hmm.
So in nutshell, that's what Fabric do. It like screens candidates resume
Hmm.
and take their first round of interview so
Hmm.
that the quality of the candidates that the technical team or a hiring manager gets, that is much better.
Interesting. But when we think of HR or recruitment as a process, we often want to believe it's a very complex process and need to understand a lot of nuances in selecting a candidate. I'm very skeptic if AI is able to do that kind of sophistication right now, at least.
Sure. So the way I look at is there are two parts to it. If I break the complete process, there's one part of interpersonal skills where you're trying to judge how well a candidate would adapt to my culture. Will I be able to retain him? And then there is a separate part where uh, I am more concerned about if the person has the skills that he says he has. Okay, will he be able to do the complex work that I want him to do on the job? Right. While I agree a little bit that it is difficult today for AI to figure out how culturally well the candidate would suit, but at the same time, if I'm talking about whether AI is able to judge the skills of the candidate, I think it has like much better skill than a talent manager or a recruiter nowadays. And the reason is simple because the kind of world knowledge these models have innately, they can do a much better job of like doing an initial screening to figure out like if the candidate has the proper skills. Okay. Another way, if I want to put it, is so far what has been done when you're like actually hiring a person, especially in like tech roles. Like for last 10 years or 15 years, as far as I know, uh, the way of assessment primarily has been sending out these data structure and algorithm kind of tests, right?
Hmm.
Nowadays, it is not just important to like all the LLMs can write
Hmm.
out of the box, write much better
Hmm.
data structure and algorithm code than an average engineer out there. Nowadays, what is more important is like how do you figure out if the candidate or the person that you're hiring has the actual skills, has the reasoning capabilities. Okay.
Hmm.
So now for a average recruiter, it's very difficult to do it today, right?
Hmm.
But as you put LLMs, they can have a much better conversations with their candidates, figure out like their reasoning and not just give them a one-off
So,
question to
so
write the
you're
solution.
saying agents right now can evaluate reasoning capability as well?
Yes.
That I would say is a bit extreme and what I've been believing.
Yes, especially for the, I think we are seeing this a lot in the tech side, the technical interviews that we conduct, where like our nowadays it's not just important to have a candidate write a piece of code, but it's as much important as asking them why did you decide with this approach?
Hmm.
What are the trade-offs that you
Hmm.
considered? How could you have optimized it? And
Hmm.
then AI is like very well able to converse through all these different aspects of a problem,
Hmm.
and could not just on the technical role, could be a sales email that you're writing. Why did you go with the particular structure of the email? What could you have improved? Do you think a personalized email would have made more sense?
Hmm.
So AI is able to ask these really tough questions
Hmm.
and then like give a very detailed report of what it thinks about how the candidate performed or how the reasoning skills of the candidate is.
Sure. See, we are a AI platform business ourselves. What all roles do you think we can use Fabric for?
As of today, the fabric is used to hire like uh, from like I have seen people using it to hire CFOs,
Hmm.
accountants,
Hmm.
marketing roles,
Hmm.
sales roles. tech roles. So we are seeing like it being adopted across the board.
Interesting. So, for a lot of question now, when I'll be asking about, say, Fabric, it might not be just Fabric, it might be the AI recruitment as a large
Yeah,
scale.
yeah.
Because, um, you might be focusing on some area more than others.
Mhm.
But what I'm trying to understand, what all profiles makes lot more sense on AI platforms to use as a recruitment and what doesn't. So you said about few roles maybe, but tell me roles that we should not use AI to hire for.
Hmm. So I think so if I have to think it in that ways, I think all the roles which are more around judging the softer aspects of the skills, where like I am trying to look at if I'm a salesperson, how well I can empathize with someone's problem.
Hmm.
Okay. I think those kind of roles AI might not be great at, but wherever like it's more about judging the hard skills of the candidate, maybe
Hmm.
accounting or fact based or the reasoning skills. I think tech roles, that is where AI makes a lot of sense.
Got it. So it's more to evaluate specific skills than the overall competence.
Yeah.
As we define as a soft skill, that's where you say we can use AI
Yeah,
more
there are
right now.
different aspects of soft skills that probably it can pick up. So, for example, it can pick up how well a candidate can communicate.
Hmm.
But if you talk about like how is maybe the team building skills,
Hmm.
how is the uh, stakeholder management for that
Hmm.
particular candidate would be, it's a little difficult to set that
Hmm.
complete
Hmm.
context and then
Interesting. So it's when it's very objective in terms of questions, skills, so for example, programming in general, we can ask about tech stacks or again certain logics in the code. Why did he choose one over the other?
yeah.
Those are the areas where you say this works better.
Yeah.
Interesting. There is a very different side of it, which is AI cheating. We spoke about clearly, which
Yeah.
got highlighted with the kind of AI cheating space, I would say. And beyond just AI cheating, I think cheating is a something that people have been concerned about after pandemic. I think we saw a lot of news, a lot of incidences where people try to cheat the system or cheat the interviewer. Even somebody else is applying for it, somebody else taking those assessments, etc. How do you deal with it now when there is a AI doing the screening, etc.? How
Yeah.
do I as a business can ensure the person who's doing the screening or assessment is the same person we actually hired?
I would want to like talk about this in a couple of pieces. So, uh, one is like when I am particularly interviewing a person, I'll maybe give a few tips and tricks as well. Like I have seen like people cheating on one-on-one calls,
Hmm.
right? And then there is like a whole different way the people cheat on these assessments. So first, maybe I'll talk about these assessments.
Yeah, so I think let's start with what are the different kind of cheatings. I think most of our audience would be interested in knowing what are the common cheatings format which people have been doing it, because you in the space at least 5, 10 different formats. Tell me what are the formats.
For the most common one is because people, not everyone can afford Cluely. So the
Hmm.
easiest way is they'll turn voice like Chat GPT voice mode on their phone,
Hmm.
turn the volume down
Hmm.
as the person, like it's there on the screen, so I don't have to move my head a lot, just can keep it in front of my screen.
Hmm.
Have maybe a button
Hmm.
linked to that voice mode. So as the person, like the interview is speaking, I just like
Hmm.
press the button, it records, I stop it, I see the answer on the screen, and I speak. And I like just read that answer out loud. Okay.
Hmm.
Now, because the interviewer is getting recorded and the chat GPT is giving
Hmm.
answer, and that's a long conversation, it always have the context of what you have spoken
Hmm.
earlier as well. So the answer are much more contextual, and then according to your understanding, you can cut out like
Hmm.
what you need. Okay.
Hmm.
That is the most common thing that we are seeing. And then there are like a barrage of tools out there
Hmm.
which just help people
Hmm.
cheat. So these invisible overlays like Cluely,
Hmm.
Parakeet, and a lot of tools like that, which like
But it solves a similar problem like ChatGPT. ChatGPT might be the a poor version of Cluely. You can
Yeah.
use it in mobile.
Yeah, and then the basic difference that we see is if there is a question on the screen, maybe you need to write a code or there's a case study you need to solve.
Hmm.
You'll have to probably take a screenshot and then put it into Chat GPT. Or if I'm using a phone,
That's
it
interesting.
gets very difficult. So what
Hmm.
these tools can do is they can read your screen and then suggest you answers based on what they are seeing on your screen.
Hmm.
So all these coding assessment tools that has been out there, people using them for like so many years, all of them are facing these problems because it gets so easily. So the
Hmm.
Cluely guy um,
Hmm.
made his way through Amazon,
Hmm.
cleared all the round of interviews. I would not name, but
Hmm.
one of the very prestigious college
Hmm.
in India, we were hiring someone,
Hmm.
so we got to know a story that a candidate who has never written a line of code landed a 1.5 CR job
Hmm.
just based on Cluely. It
Hmm.
was like was smart enough to know what to speak, what to not speak based
Hmm.
on the answer that they are seeing.
Hmm.
Completed the full round. So that is one aspect where like people are using these AI tools to cheat.
Hmm.
The other aspect is which I like earlier used to common as separate person
Hmm.
coming on your behalf.
Hmm.
People using all the fancy ways to morph their faces in real times to look like someone else.
Interesting.
Someone sitting behind the
Yeah.
screen and you're just moving your lips and someone else is
Hmm.
speaking. One of the most creative way that
Hmm.
I have seen is like what people will do is people will like let's say open two separate browsers.
Hmm.
On a separate browser they'll maybe share their screen
Hmm.
and a friend is sitting behind. They will on a different screen or a
Hmm.
different browser they'll join with the
Hmm.
recruiter, put on their headphones
Hmm.
just like so that they can hear your friends not actually connected to the call in
Hmm.
which I'm like giving the interview.
Hmm.
The person, the
Hmm.
friend looks at all the questions that are being answered,
Hmm.
dictate it, and they can just
Hmm.
uh, speak it out loud. Okay,
Hmm.
so various ways that we are seeing cheating for now. The traditional way of detecting cheating, the way these assessment tools have been detecting cheating is like starts with very basic things. Put in your Aadhaar card or some sort of identity proof, and then
Hmm.
maybe we'll do a face match. Then they'll maybe uh, do some kind of voice analysis. If they are hearing multiple voices,
Hmm.
they'll do a lip sync analysis if the what the other person is speaking is
Hmm.
actually aligning with
Hmm.
how the lips are moving.
Hmm.
So there are like lot of these tools to create
Hmm.
deep fakes. Better like the positive use case of them is you can use like tweak these tools a little bit to actually get this sync ratio.
Hmm.
If
Hmm.
like what I'm speaking is
Hmm.
syncing with my lip movements, so you can use a lot of tools like that. People have always used these gaze tracking kind of solutions.
Gaze tracking.
Yeah, where I'm looking at the
Yeah.
screen. So if I'm looking off the screen, it'll maybe give me an alarm that okay, look back at the screen. But all of like in we have like conducted around 50-60,000 interviews so far. Okay,
Hmm.
uh, have not seen like more than 5% of cases in which the cheating is happening because of
But
these
even
reasons.
5% is a big number.
Yeah,
Now, when you said 5%, I am like, 5% is such cases? It's a high
yeah,
number.
but it's like very easy to detect. Okay,
Hmm.
because like if a person changed, you can pick out. If there
Hmm.
are voice changed, you can easily pick out because these are more there as like clear signals that okay,
Hmm.
someone is something is happening. Okay, but at the same time like there are a few signals that we see. If like some people, I have this bad habit of
Hmm.
like looking up and then talking, or
Hmm.
like not being looking too much at the screen makes me a
Hmm.
little jittery. So I'm like looking talking more naturally, so
Hmm.
my head is naturally moving. So
Hmm.
these kind of signals, like these kind of heuristics give very bad signals. Okay,
Hmm.
now but if you think now I have a invisible screen on invisible overlay that I'm seeing
Hmm.
on my
Hmm.
screen, I am looking at the screen
Hmm.
reading as it is. How do you even detect that?
Yeah.
Right, so we have worked a lot on this. This
Hmm.
is like one of our USP that uh, people, and then because of all these cheating ratio, no, enterprises have sort of lost their trust in the sending out assessments. Okay.
Mm.
Now we think there are like two or three ways to solve
Mm.
it. One is like, can you build better algorithms to detect it? So when I say better algorithms is like, can you take out different verbal cues
Mm.
or the cues, how a person is speaking? Okay. So for example, if I ask you a question around like, have you worked in some particular framework, and you give me a perfect answer,
Mm.
but then I ask you, "Acha, do you know about Python, or can
Mm.
you tell me how it works?" You're like, you know very deeply about a particular framework but not about that language.
Mm.
So you see that kind of disconnect in the way the knowledge is being presented by the candidate. You see there uh, like a reading cadence when I'm
Mm.
reading something off the screen
Mm.
versus when I'm speaking naturally. That is very different.
Mm.
There are other verbal cues like uh, a lot of phrases that are mostly that is used in written
Mm.
language, like a metered system within elastic environment to
Mm.
run your compute resources.
Mm.
Probably I'll route it, but when I'm
Mm.
talking about it, I'll say a cloud,
Yeah.
right? So can you pick up phrases like this? Okay. So we have built this algorithm which like looks at these
Mm.
different kind of linguistic cues, semantic cues, verbal cues,
Mm.
and tries to give you a good heuristic score. A few other things, smart things that we have done in our tool is, and I often do this in my live interviews. So we try to keep a running cheating score. Like, how
Okay.
confident are we that a candidate is cheating?
Okay.
If that goes up beyond a threshold, what we do is we ask a random question out of the world, right? I'll maybe make up some phrase that, okay, there are
Interesting.
like, like standard transfer, like there are like multiple transformers,
Mm.
different kind of. So I'll just say,
Mm.
what is cross attention spatial transformer? There's no answer to it. But if a person does not have an idea and they are
Mm.
completely relying on AI, they'll just go and give a
That's a very
complete answer.
interesting thing because in most of these tools now, if you ask a question that doesn't exist, it's very likely to hallucinate or give you some random
Yeah.
answer, and then comparatively easier to trace
Yes.
somebody in there.
Yes.
That's an interesting insight.
So that works in real life interviews as well.
Hmm.
You stop, take a minute, make up a question, ask them. If they are genuine, they'll either say, "Sorry, I have not heard about it,"
Hmm.
or maybe, or they'll actually reason with you that, okay, probably while I have never heard about it, I think this is probably what you
Hmm.
mean to say, but I'm still not sure. And then there are a kind of people who will just give you an long-winded answer, like they know it what it is. And then
That's
another.
in general, a trick which I've been using, to interview any irrespective of AI, that you ask certain random questions which has no, existence, which is not reality, and then you phrase it as a question and be confident that tell me about this, particular subject. People who know the subject deep will immediately tell you I haven't heard, or will ask
Yeah.
questions about it. And I've seen people who'll answer those even irrespective of AI even.
Hmm.
They'll try to cover up. They'll
Hmm.
try to say something which is, justifying it.
Yeah.
And then you find out the crack.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like, no heuristic is like 100% true.
Ah,
That's why it's an
of course,
heuristic.
of course.
But you can always build you can use it as a decent signal.
Over last, I think, post COVID, there would be at least 4 to 5 different scenarios that has happened in the company, which we say or equate as a cheating or a
Mm-hmm.
fraud.
Mm-hmm.
One very recent and very interesting. So one guy gave the whole interview assessment, etc. So we have a process of recording every interview,
Yeah.
and the HR was supposed to look at all and review if it's the same person. Day one, the same person joined.
Okay.
Day two, there was a random guy.
Oh my God. This happened for real?
This
Oh my
happened very
God.
recently. Day two, there was some other guy. So every onboarding and everything was done by a guy who
Mm-hmm.
did the interview. But day two, there was another guy.
What did they think? They'll not get caught?
They thought that. And somehow, immediately HR said, "Who are you?" And he asked question,
Yeah.
immediately
Yeah.
recognized. I don't know what they were expecting, maybe nobody will notice or something, but HR immediately noticed and asked. And that got baffled there, and he said, "Oh, I'm just trying to cover up for him." And we had to file for a case. And we do ensure any such instance will send out a legal notice at least, you know. But they're having amazing examples, you know. One guy joined, and after a week, then his hiring manager reported like he can't be the same guy, because there's a clear difference in his his ability to understand what we're talking about versus how he did in the interview.
Yeah, yeah.
What we eventually realized, again, that was probably the first time we realized that during his interview he kept it low light, was trying to, you know, somebody else was speaking, he was just trying to
Hmm.
cover his mouth with the mic like that, and you know,
Hmm.
you can't figure out if he's speaking or not. Later on, when this happened, he, you know, when the hiring manager said this can't be same guy, the HR reviewed his call and realized he's doing that.
Yeah,
So it took like a week time,
yeah.
you know. But I think we have identified 4 5 cases, all mostly within a week.
Yes.
If you, for example, understand a hiring process 100 unit in length or effort, what portion of it is getting cut down by AI? I understand it's not doing full, as you said.
Mhm.
So what portion out of 100?
So, if I talk about the whole recruiting space, how is it getting changed by AI, or how the
No, so
AI
I'm not
is?
talking about the whole recruiting. Say, for example, one profile where you think, you know, this has already cracked a grade. If there is like, if earlier it used to take 100 unit of effort to close one role,
Mhm.
how much that effort is reduced right now with AI?
So, like the way we measure it is like how many, like the number of candidates that gets your round one interview, how many
Hmm.
of those are cleared, basically, this people that you screen. So, earlier, have we seen that traditionally that ratio has been like if you get 15 to 20 people for your round one interview,
So 15 to 20 resume, or
people in your round one of interview.
okay, 15
Okay.
to 20 in round one.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Out of that, we are seeing like two or three used to clear.
Okay.
Right now we have brought that down to maybe like 4 in 1, 5 in 1. That's what we are seeing.
So you're doing better screening,
Yeah.
and hence,
So the time to hire is faster.
hmm.
The time
So 4 in 1. So earlier it was, I think, you know, 10
fifth.
20%.
Yeah.
Now you're saying it has moved
To
up
yeah, to 30-40%
to
kind of.
30 40%.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. But then again, question is, this effort, the effort saving that you're doing here, how much of is it in the entire process of it? So my question is it right now saving say 10% of the time, which can be a precious time, but 10% of the time on screening or the whole recruitment, or is it already saving 20 30% of the time?
So if you talk about Fabric,
Hmm.
because we are focused on screening,
Hmm.
it saves 10%
Hmm.
at the moment.
Hmm.
But if you talk about all the AI which is applicable across the stack,
Hmm.
I think it is anywhere saving like 50% or like even more. So because if you think about it, your hiring process earlier starts from, so because I come from tech backgrounds, I have better understanding of those profiles, so I'll talk
Hmm.
in those terms. Yeah. So if I am hiring for a Python developer,
Hmm.
let's say earlier I used to say, I'm just trying to explain like how
Hmm.
different tools that are out there are like
Hmm.
making the whole journey
Hmm.
more efficient. So earlier when I used to go and let's say I want to hire a Python backend developer, I'll make a generic JD Python backend developer, put it all the
Hmm.
skills that I
Hmm.
do. So starting from that place, now you have agents which look at your stack, the kind of commits that you're doing, will talk to your hiring manager,
Hmm.
and not only just tell you that you need a Python backend engineer,
Hmm.
but tell you that okay, you need a Python backend engineer who has experience with Django framework,
Hmm.
particularly this modules, particularly has like maybe solved scaling problems, payments problems. So you can actually get to those core skills. So there is like whole gamut of tools which
Hmm.
just help you create these JDs, find out the exact micro skills that you need.
Hmm.
From there on, earlier, like the standard ways, you go on a sourcing platform, you'll just type in some
Hmm.
random keywords. So then there is a whole new way of finding these. So there are like tools like Juicebox, People GPT, where you can go and exactly put like this complete sentence in your query. I'm looking for a backend developer who has worked in fintech domains, has built payments at scale, have solved these specific kind of problems,
Hmm.
and get a people like a list of
Hmm.
candidates right out of the box. From there on, you have tools which automates the communication, you
Hmm.
have tools which automate the screening,
Hmm.
And then to the extent that there we are seeing tools in the market which like takes the existing data of a companies, like what
Hmm.
kind of workforce, the
Hmm.
past experience that it
Hmm.
has, and tries to predict what's the joining rate might be, or
Hmm.
how long that candidate might retain in the company.
Hmm.
So if you put in all apart from the last couple of interviews that you do, the whole process seems to be getting automated. And then there is like the human interviews which are being happening. We see that people are using a lot of tools in the live call which assist the recruiter
Hmm.
around like what kind of questions that you need. The earlier where like
Hmm.
it's used to be manual note taking or
Hmm.
manual review,
Hmm.
all that has automated. So I think the only time a human is spending, if I like automate, like put AI in each and every piece of it,
Hmm.
all the person needs to do is get on a call, talk
Hmm.
to the person, actually try to like use their judgment to make a belief or reason about how well the candidate would do,
Hmm.
and rest of everything could be taken care of by AI.
Sure. Interesting. So what I hear as, with your tool, in the entire process it's saving almost 10%, which is an important number, because you're able to make the very top of the funnel effective.
Very effective.
And if we are using multiple tools, we can go up to 50% of effort saving in the entire
Yeah,
recruitment
easily.
process. Interesting. But for a recap, help me understand, how do we break the entire recruitment cycle? There is a screening, there is a sourcing. How do you define further paths?
Sure. So it starts with first, like your journey starts with an hiring manager.
Mm-hmm.
He sees that, okay, I have a gap in my team. Maybe I need to hire some folk.
Mm-hmm.
From there on, it goes to a recruiter or a talent manager,
Mm-hmm.
which then, based on the information that he has got from hiring manager, they come up with a JD. The
Mm-hmm.
next part is it's probably put on some job boards, or there is some manual sourcing done, or you would go and check your past database of candidates.
Mm-hmm.
You get people. Now in screening, there are multiple steps. So the most common is you go through resumes, you do a normal phone screening call to get the basic details. There is an assessment involved. Maybe like some people like to send an hacker rank kind of an assessment. Some
Hmm.
people try
So
to send.
this assessment generally happen after the screening.
Yeah, like some people like, yeah, mostly it happens after the screening, but then there are some processes where like some people are not doing one of the task, or
Hmm.
doing both of these things in parallel.
Got it.
Okay, once that is done, once you're done with the screening and the assessment, then assessment can come in different shape and forms.
Hmm.
Now after that, you'll have multiple rounds of one, a few to checks the technical skill, a
Hmm.
few around the cultural fit, and the
Hmm.
HR rounds, as it's called.
Hmm.
Once that is done, the offer is rolled out. There is some wait period when the candidate
Hmm.
is joined. During that process, also there are like a lot of formalities. Like
Hmm.
if you want a person to upskill in maybe some of the specific tools, you send
Hmm.
out like a lot of onboarding material and everything, and then the
Hmm.
candidate joins, and then he starts the ramp up.
Got
And
it. Got it. Before I come to that aspect, one of the two things I think I would like to talk about. One, a skepticism with respect to using AI to hire people. Even I have my own apprehension that if there is like a super candidate for a particular role, would he be interested in talking or getting engaged with an AI? I have a very strong belief that the more chances a person is willing to participate in it is more likely or more correlated that he's not getting good offers already,
Mhm.
and might put him into the whole, say, stack of, if I say, competence or whatever, grading of candidates or their talent. It might be in the medians of it, not the top notch. If I have to really find top notch people, I would have to engage them very personally. Even the recruiter would need to. And that might not. And they at least will clearly outright reject, all the AI assessments and etc. And they'll say, I know I can get opportunities. I don't need to engage with it. I need, somebody to talk to directly. Often people also translate it to respect, maybe.
Mhm.
There is a sense of ego also, that look, I'm good enough to get job anywhere. I don't want to talk to an AI. How do you see this aspect?
Look at the jobs and the pay scales that our tool or the other tools in the market, specifically around these AI interviewers. The highest package that we have seen being rolled out from Fabric is 1.5 CR.
And how do you know, the highest package? Did you talk to customers or
Yeah.
it's integrated on your
No,
platform?
we talk to the customer. So when
Interesting.
someone is posting a job, they usually put a salary range,
Ah,
and
of
then we
course.
see like if they an actual role offer, like a letter was actually rolled
Got
out
it.
to the candidate.
Got
So
it.
the highest package that we have seen is 1.5 CR.
Hmm.
Okay. So that gives us, like, when we started, it was kind of a concern that will people take the call or not. Okay.
Hmm.
Now I think it's more around how is it positioned. So the way I like to think about it is, uh, I am not saying that we should completely remove the recruiter, but let's say you go, you apply for a visa,
Hmm.
right? You for the US embassy, I go stand in front of a person. That person is not making a decision right there and then,
Hmm.
right? There is already my profile most probably on his computer that he has,
Hmm.
that has already made a decision. He's just doing the final check,
Hmm.
right? So if the assessments or screening is positioned like that, that we are uh, not taking the decisions directly based
Hmm.
on AI, or AI is not take a decision,
Hmm.
but it is more like a radar that we are giving to the recruiter so that they can make decisions easier, right?
Hmm.
If it's positioned like this, and if like the process, and like, for sure, if my very first step for this kind of candidates, like you're saying, the top notch candidates, is
Hmm.
AI talking to them
Hmm.
and saying that, okay, I'm going to evaluate you,
Hmm.
might off put people.
Hmm.
But then if it is a part of the assessment, where you see nowadays, even if I like, until unless you remove the top 1% of the candidates, everyone needs to maybe do a in take home assessment,
Hmm.
okay, or do a hacker wrong kind of a
Hmm.
thing, right?
Hmm.
These kind of assessments at the same time are more engaging,
Hmm.
can get deeper, ask better questions,
Hmm.
and it's not like you're sitting alone and doing. So people are more interested in doing that kind of assessments.
Hmm.
And then I think it's more around like how, in what part of the complete process do you
Hmm.
insert it. But I think we have not seen like people being completely opposed to it.
Hmm.
It's mostly companies with some prejudices that they don't want to do it. In such cases, what we do is they like still put the AI interviewers or
Hmm.
AI agents in their process. Now
Hmm.
it's not around the whole equation is that, okay, don't use it
Hmm.
for giving an assessment, use it for creating your application, use it to better talk about your experience so we have more data points.
Interesting. You or organizations implementing AI for recruitment, managing those? What are the tips and tricks? If, for example, I as an organization want to use Fabric or want to use any other, the tools that you mentioned, what are the things that I have to keep in mind?
As a company, I think there are like two different aspects of it. If I am like looking to develop an AI tool myself, so how do I go about it? What are the best practices so that I can like cover all these scenarios or put proper guardrails? And the second is like, if I am evaluating tools like Fabric or anything, what kind of uh, things that I can do to figure out like if how well these things would deal with it. Okay, so to answer the first aspect of it, I think in both of the cases it revolves around evals, right?
Hmm.
How good of an evaluation data set you can create. If I
Hmm.
am talk completely in the
That's more technical, yeah. I mean, how as a business who I don't want to get into technicalities of it. I'm a I'm a business which has a completely different. I had nothing to do with AI. I just want to use it to create efficiency. I don't want to get into evals,
Mhm,
etc.
mhm.
What do I need to look at?
Yeah, I think like evals does not need to be treated as technical.
Hmm.
Thing particularly when I say evals, I am more talking about the essence of it. So if I'm a business, I have
Hmm.
no technical knowledge. What I would want to do is, okay, first, any AI, and I think this does not just apply to a tool like Fabric, but
Hmm.
any AI tool that you're
Hmm.
evaluating.
Hmm.
I think most of these things should start with like understanding that, okay, these are the 10 or 20 tasks that I want to accomplish.
Hmm.
This is the outcome that I am expecting,
Hmm.
and this is the reasoning that I expect to come with it. Okay,
Hmm.
you always start from there,
Hmm.
right? Now, be it a resume,
Hmm.
be it a sales email that you're trying to write, be it a marketing copy.
Hmm.
And then if you Pareto principle applies here as well, like 80% of
Hmm.
your work gets done with like 20% of the effort. So 80% of the work that you do on like on a regular basis could be summarized into maybe 20
Hmm.
percent of the scenario. So you start with there.
Hmm.
Okay, you make sure that apart from like leaving all the edge cases, it works
Hmm.
very well on this 80% of the cases that I'm looking
Hmm.
for. Okay.
So what I'm picking is we should not think it to cover 100% scenario.
Yes.
We should do it to optimize 80% of it.
Yes.
And if we are able to, solve the 80% problem, we're saving enough of it. And then
Yes.
there's always need to be a human in loop to do the 20% of
Yeah.
the thing.
So this is the first thing. You start with 80% of the items,
Hmm.
and then you think about how do I bring that feedback back into my system so that it can adopt better. I can handle four more scenarios, and that's how you take your journey for the 100%. Like what I have seen people do a lot, it is like 80% of any task that you're doing can probably be handled with very proper guardrails and the outcomes that you're
Hmm.
looking for. But then anyone evaluating would probably start with that, okay, how would this handle this like very peculiar edge case which maybe happens in like
Hmm.
once in a quarter,
Hmm.
right? And they are trying to optimize the system for that,
Hmm.
right? Which is probably a very bad way to start, because you'll waste a lot of time, not get any efficiency, and then
Hmm.
burn and will like end up with a decision that okay, AI does not work. So I think the best way, so when I say eval, this is what
Hmm.
I mean, that
Got
okay,
it.
start with
Hmm.
could be like does not need to be like a prompt and an
Hmm.
output, but like
Hmm.
okay, 20 scenarios that you want your thing to look at. So in our hiring, what we do is we go and ask the company that okay,
Hmm.
you have like interviewed, you have ATS, you know exactly that okay, these are the 20 people whose
Hmm.
resume got shortlisted and then didn't perform very well in
Hmm.
the interview.
Hmm.
Why don't you create the same job on Fabric and put those resumes and see what we get? Okay,
Interesting.
the kind of A B tests that we run is like maybe we'll pick a pool of people, we'll interview them
Hmm.
through our platform
Hmm.
assessment, and then we'll have them the same set of candidates
Hmm.
interview round one, round two, and see what's the match.
Hmm.
And that gives a much better idea. We are not looking for a very peculiar edge case, but we are looking for like how your 80% of the work could be
Hmm.
streamlined and sorted.
Got it.
So I think that would be the, and any tool that might be, any AI agent that either you're trying to build in house or trying to implement for your business, I think that should be the way to start.
But how technical as a user I need to be to adopt tools like Fabric or JD Creator, Bar Raiser?
More than technical, I think the word that I usually use is how thorough you need to be with what you're looking for,
Hmm.
right? Uh, because if you're thorough with, if you can give me very well instructions around what I am, what you want for, or
Hmm.
the outcome that you're looking for,
Hmm.
rest could be handled by an LLM nowadays easily,
Hmm.
right? What is the wrong expectation is people come who do not have any idea and they'll just come and say, I am looking for a Python developer.
Yeah.
It's no way that Fabric or any XYZ in the tool, XYZ tool in the world can do a good job on figuring
Hmm.
out that. Okay. But if you're very thorough that, okay, this is the kind of person with this experience in this
Hmm.
domains, I can probably do a much better job at it. Right.
Hmm.
So the way I think about it is not necessary. I don't need to be technical, because the paradigm shift in all these tools that I'm seeing with AI is uh, that it is kind of taking that technicality away. Like earlier, if you look at tools, used to be like lot of clunkiness. I have
Hmm.
to like go and create like thousands of rules,
Hmm.
put if else, if else, if else, need to know that okay, how the tool works, maybe write a query.
Hmm.
All of that is getting abstracted because the LLMs are coming into the picture.
Hmm.
But then now the expectation is not that you'll know how to use a tool, but the expectation is like you'll be very thorough, you'll have very in-depth knowledge of the kind of outcomes, the reasoning, the
Hmm.
process that you need.
Yep. So I think clarity of context and outcome
Yes.
is paramount in adopting any of these AI tools,
Yes.
because these largely can understand the broader context of it, but it always need to be centered around the core context and the
Exactly.
core objective.
Yes.
And that's where I think lot of us, especially, and I see this in India, lot of us comes with a huge vagueness. I see JDs across companies.
Yeah, yeah,
They have been so vague about it.
yes, yes,
I've struggled even in my organization to get everybody understand what does a JD mean,
true that,
how you need to be specific.
true that.
And somehow all this chat GPT is doing more harm right now, at least, than good, because people are using those to create it without even understanding what
And
goes in
without
it.
even reading it. And yeah, I think, not respect to the JD creation, but happened very recently with one of my developer.
Mm-hmm.
Came with like 1,000 line of code.
Mm-hmm.
I asked him what's going on in here. Like, I don't know. I mean, cannot work like that. I mean, you use, I'm like all open for people using AI for any of the tool. For sure, it gives a productivity boost.
Hmm.
But should not do like that. I usually say the thinking mode in Chat GPT is not to like offload your thinking. So
True.
people nowadays do that. Like, okay, I have funny incident. I was walking in a cafe.
Hmm.
Person was like, I was could see that Chat GPT thinking mode, and then he's like using his phone like this. I mean, like, just does not work like that.
True, true. Mehul, we spoke about use cases of businesses who are using Fabric as a platform, but I'll also be interested in knowing: are you implementing some of these agents, AI tools internally? What are those, and why do you use it? Some examples, maybe.
Sure. So ultimately, like these agents are in form of some other platform that we use,
Mm-hmm.
but then yeah, for sure we use it across the board, like
Mm-hmm.
various use cases. So to name a few, I think in sales, we use these agents to like starting from finding list of our ICPs,
Mm-hmm.
going through their LinkedIn's,
So it's
and
like a
then
SDR agent.
yeah, this is more like an SDR agent,
Hmm.
which we use for outreach.
Hmm.
And then the basic purpose of it is like you define your ICP. There are like a lot of tools like Clay. I think
Hmm.
people use Clay a lot. Then there is Super AGI. Okay.
Hmm. All
Uh,
these are SDR agent.
yeah, these are like more of a consolidated platform to help you automate
Hmm.
your outreach,
Hmm.
which starts from like you building you building, figuring out your ICP, you building
Hmm.
a lead list,
Hmm.
then you coming up with like hyper personalized messages for them. So
Hmm.
it goes, looks on the internet, looks at their LinkedIn profiles, and then come up with
Hmm.
these things. Then we do like one internal use case that we use for is like kind of I think a technique like the official term for is lead scoring and lead routing. So we have demos out there now. Whenever someone takes a demo, we do ask them a
Hmm.
little bit about that. Okay, which company, which role, what are the use case that they are
Hmm.
looking for. Based on the so many demos that we have done, we know what has higher chances, like
Hmm.
what is more likely to convert and
Got it.
not convert. So we use all that information to then route these leads. So if we see that it's a uh, higher chances of converting, that gets routed to maybe a senior AE.
Hmm.
If it like a super high, that gets routed to CEO directly.
Got it.
So I think that is one use case that we are seeing being very helpful, has
Hmm.
like freed up a lot of time, and the leads have been started to routing. And then on the other hand, if we see not very good, we just route them to that. Okay, this is a free trial, why don't you go and try it, and reach out to us in case if there is anything.
Got it.
Then
So,
of
can you quantify the outcome of these SDR agent by any metrics, just for our audience to understand how
yeah,
effective these are?
I think earlier, I think I might not be the right person to quantify it, but the way I understand it is earlier, it for creating a list of let's say 100 leads and then researching their LinkedIn's and then creating their personalized messages for everything everyone used to be uh, like when I used to hear it from my team or my other co-founders was like used to take like 4 to 5 days to like create a good lead list of 200 people or so, where I like go verify their emails using some separate tool, then go in LinkedIn and then maybe create personalized messages. It's a big task. Now I think that has come down to a couple of hours maybe, where all I need to do is like be very thorough with the ICP that I am looking for, the kind of persona that I want to target, the kind of roles that I need to target. And then it does a really good job of like fetching emails from maybe a tool like Apollo, and then verifying their emails using a tool like hunter.io or something, then scouring their LinkedIn, creating a, and then all this happens in like in an automated fashion in a couple of hours, right?
Interesting.
On the uh, lead scoring part, I think the way we look at it is like, uh, particularly for my co-founder Abhishek, he had this constant complaint that okay, I am having like 5 to 10 meetings in a day, and then like 40 to 50% of like at least
Hmm.
half of them have like are like just like coming to explore,
Hmm.
are not into our ICP.
Hmm.
I'm just exploring the products. Okay, now,
Hmm.
after we have implemented this lead scoring, now he says that okay, uh, like 3 out of 5 calls
Hmm.
that I get are highly relevant that I would actually be want to a part of. So
Interesting.
I think because of that, the overall conversion that we are seeing with these
Hmm.
more important accounts has gone up.
Hmm.
So yeah, I think it has we've seen efficiencies in that term. A
Sure.
few other departments, I'll talk about the tech at last, but
Sure.
I'll just cover the others first.
Sure. Let me start by probably rephrasing this. What or which department have you seen most effectiveness now? Because you said multiple departments you're using. Which department you've seen most impact of all these
Customer
AI tools?
support.
Customer support. And where have you seen probably the least impact of these?
For me personally, I'd say in marketing.
That's interesting because I was believing that there are more tools around marketing getting created than any other segment.
So, I mean, like, uh, if I have to really find, like, LLMs are like usually good, or these agents are usually good at maybe giving me some really good ideas around the kind of post
Hmm.
that I want to write.
Hmm.
But then, the efficacy of this agent writing a post completely by themselves and that doing well on
Hmm.
LinkedIn is like extremely low.
Got
Needs
it.
a lot of human inputs. But
Hmm.
then this for customer support role, like if I just put a chatbot, I have
Hmm.
seen like the number of queries gone down by like 50%,
Interesting.
right? So when I say the efficacy of it, like I have seen people using a lot of these different kind of tools for various marketing use cases, writing post,
Hmm.
figuring out SEOs. But then uh, having that do like can sure be a great assistant to you,
Hmm.
but I don't think can work very well as an agent that okay, you just tell that okay, create post, post them, manage it, figure
Hmm.
out what would go next. I have
Sure.
not seen that yet happen now, but I
Sure.
have seen like people using a lot of these tools for
Hmm.
different aspects of marketing. But like if one single item that I have to pick from internal use case, that would be customer support.
Interesting. Do you see a correlation with creativity required in the field to the AI adoption? Maybe where you need to be less creative, chances of using or being more effective of such AI tool is higher. Whereas, like for example, marketing, where you really need to be creative, the whole efficacy goes down.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to put it. But then the another way that I like to think about it, all the use cases where the decision that you take is highly impacted by what has happened already, right?
Hmm.
For example, of most of the customer queries that I have received have been handled by one of the person earlier. Okay,
Hmm.
if I am scoring a lead, has probably I have a similar ICP or a person that I have seen.
Hmm.
If I am writing a personalized message, I have something to back it down,
Hmm.
right? But if I am trying to do something which is very novel, where like probably prior information does not exist, because if I am doing a marketing campaign, it's not like I know what will work. I have to keep on trying,
Hmm.
run
Hmm.
experimentations.
Hmm.
Okay. And then I think that's creativity is a good heuristic for that. Like, you
Hmm.
can be creative in the way you provide support, but I
Hmm.
think the way I think about it is the fundamental difference is uh, how good of a knowledge base or a prior information do
Hmm.
you have to support that task.
Hmm.
Like, if I ask AI to go and like maybe come up with a great sales email, might not be like
Hmm.
a new sales campaign that I should run,
Hmm.
might not do a great job at it, right?
Hmm.
Or like new topics that I should go for. But if I give it that, okay, these five topics have worked great for me, maybe
Hmm.
come give me five more ideas along the same line, can do a decent job at it.
Interesting. So repeatability, is a strong correlation with
Yeah.
the AI tool. If something which is very repeated or monotonous in nature, that
Yes.
can be easily automated by these
Yes.
things. Now, sure. So let's start with customer support then, because as you said, there's a larger efficacy there. Tell me about some AI agents that you deployed in that.
Like, we use intercom,
Hmm.
um, uh, takes care of like our I think 50 to 60% of the customer queries.
Hmm.
um,
Intercom charge you based on the
uh,
transaction or
the
completion,
resolution of queries.
the resolution of query, and it charges $1
Yeah.
approx
Yeah.
for each resolution of
Yeah.
query. Interesting. And if a human handover has to happen, it doesn't charge for it.
Yes.
Are you seeing benefit of such outcome based pricing, or it feels like more expensive?
At the moment it feels more expensive, but I
Hmm.
think at a scale like, I think 2 months ago, if you would have asked me, that felt like more expensive because the
Hmm.
queries were not that much.
Hmm.
But for the last 2 months, we have like doubled our revenue, so got more people. Now the
Hmm.
queries have gone up, so now we have started to seeing, because now then it frees up a
Hmm.
person's time completely. So now we are seeing that, and then because we are an AI company ourselves, like we have built some mechanisms to first look at those answers ourselves,
Hmm.
and then if we are not able to figure it out, then only pass it to a deeper agent.
Got it. Typically, what percentage of messages coming in or conversation coming in is now getting resolved end to end by AI agents on customer support?
I would say around 60% of the queries get resolved 100% by AI
Interesting. That's
agents.
very similar to what we also see, and I think it's a common benchmark in customer support. I've talked to a couple of companies, and they said 60% is what they're easily able to
Yeah.
achieve.
Yeah. And then the kind of queries, uh, like when I was reviewing it a couple of days ago, the major difference that I saw was those customer queries were not and like a support request, but more like a feature request. Okay, how can I is this possible in your tool? If not,
Got
what
it.
can I do? Which maybe like needs requires you to like plug it with some other tool. But
Hmm.
then if it is particularly about the tool, how to use some functionality, something is not working, I think it does a pretty good job at it.
Sure. So can we say that this is saving 60% of the time in the process, or is it even more?
I think it's even more, because like to solve those 60% of the queries a person would like, the biggest thing is like you reach out to them, like even if you're using a tool, there's like a lot of context switch
Hmm.
and all those kind of things happening. So
Hmm.
I think the time getting saved is for sure more.
Interesting. And how much effort does it go into setting up these system? Intercom or any other platform would have given you these tools,
Yeah.
but how much time and effort or probably recurring effort that goes into?
I think for intercom we did our complete uh, implementation around a week.
Hmm.
Did not like just to put that support agent on our website,
Hmm. Hmm.
because all it took was like we took the dump of all the conversations that we have done, all the
Hmm.
documentation that we
Hmm.
had written for candidates,
Hmm.
put it in their knowledge base.
Hmm.
It gives a out of the box
Hmm.
widget that you can plug in your website, and then
Hmm.
it goes from there.
Sure. But I think setting is the easiest part in AI agents.
Yeah.
Improvising is.
Yes.
And how much time does it go on a monthly basis now, maybe?
So I think we spend uh, on a monthly basis a day or two specifically for this. Like it's sort of a that our customer success team do, and it's a fixed process. What they do is like look at all the queries
Hmm.
that got answered, that were not answered, that the queries which were not answered, you put the documentation for it
Hmm.
in the tool or tweak the flow for that, and then
Hmm.
you repeat that process.
Got it. So you said, you know, what you need to do is improvising of these tools is keep adding more knowledge.
Yeah.
As you see misses that has happened in past, you keep covering those misses and done.
Yes.
Largely, that's
Yes.
the common flow.
Yes.
Sure. What apart from this?
So
Any
apart,
other process next to customer support where you see a good impact, or some use cases that you think is like very intriguing in
hmm,
general?
in marketing, like I mean, we like I think these are a lot of common use cases out there, like
Hmm.
figuring out the SEO kind of the SEO terms that you should use,
Hmm.
the posts that you could explore.
Hmm.
We have tried a few agents to look after our competitors,
Hmm.
summarize what kind of content they are publishing, what it
Hmm.
is working for them.
Hmm.
So does a decent job there. But I think particularly I can talk a lot about tech because
Hmm.
that's where uh, we have been extensively
Go ahead.
using these agents for various use cases, right? So starting like our agent starts from what we do is all these customer success calls that we do
Mm-hmm.
gets recorded,
Mm-hmm.
right? Uh, these all these calls, we use a few LLM calls and few agents to extract the feature request,
Mm-hmm.
gets added in our Jira board automatically, so that we
Interesting.
never miss out on any customer request. It's always our responsibility to go and
Hmm.
prioritize it,
Hmm.
but at least that makes sure that if customer requested for a feature,
Hmm.
that exists in our
Hmm.
roadmap that we can prioritize for,
Hmm.
right? uh, we because as a team we focus a lot on documentation.
Hmm.
It's a mandate across the team that if you are looking for an information,
Hmm.
your first goal should be to go and ask IR agent,
Hmm.
right? Ask the chatbot. If you don't get an answer, raise a query that this needs to be added in the knowledge base, and then only go and talk to a person,
Got it.
right? And then all the KT sessions that we do,
Hmm.
particularly in tech,
Hmm.
gets recorded, gets transcribed, are put in the
Hmm.
knowledge base so that every conversation that you are doing adds up to the knowledge base,
Hmm.
right? Every PR that we raise,
Hmm.
the first review is done by an agent,
Hmm.
right? All the code that we write, the first set of unit tests are
Hmm.
written by agent.
Which is your favorite among all these? Really loved it and most
I
intrigued
think
or.
for me particularly as a founder, I love the was hearing a lot ki our customer has said this, why is it not released?
Hmm.
So I think in terms of impact, I seeing
Hmm.
that finally impacts how our customer perceives it or the kind of features that we are prioritizing. It's the first part of it.
Yeah.
I think that is like pretty cool for me.
Yeah.
Very neat implementation. Rest are technically, I'm like wowed कि it's
Hmm.
able to do such a great job at
Hmm.
unit test casing, but that's the engineer in me speaking.
Hmm.
But the founder in me says that
Yeah.
uh, being on top of the customer feature request is the highest value thing that I have seen.
Interesting. Interesting. So, what you said is what we even are trying, internally for. So, we have what we say analytical agent, which actually extract voice of the customer, go through a lot of recordings, chat transcripts. So, we primarily operate on call and WhatsApp. So, that's the places where we extract most of these. And then I think one of the way we try to do it is extract exact phrase how customer describe this. It's also very intriguing because then when you are able to find out common phrases people used to describe, and that's a phrase we want to push it internally, not just the feature.
Yeah, yeah.
And then we are able to rank based on frequency of it. We also do impact analysis again, how much customer were asking for it, etc. And then we don't do it like the Jira automation, but we do it as a monthly analysis where we
Hmm.
extract and then put it in front of the whole team. Look, this has happened. This is what has changed from last month.
Hmm.
What are
Interesting.
changing, etc. I've been thinking about building this as a core feature on my operator,
Mm-hmm.
but what I haven't heard a lot of people talking about. I wasn't sure if our customers were ready for it. We might just build it as a feature and nobody want it right now. Hearing you gives me like this can be a super feature where we
Yeah.
tell businesses what are things you should look forward to further.
Yeah, I think this is something that I have like seen across my team. So Abhishek, uh, CEO who takes all the sales call, he has like an ever increasing list of objections
Hmm.
that is created automatically.
Hmm.
Like a person onboards, that's the first you get. Like, what a better way to give the objections and the best answers than like actually the customer calls, because you know what was the objection, what was
Hmm.
answered, and how did the customer react to it,
Hmm.
right? All the tasks across the board, be it marketing or any of the call that is happening, we have stopped taking manual notes for the task that needs to be done, because people miss this thing or that thing. While we push that everyone should take notes,
Hmm.
but then an AI there taking this thing, like takes the note, like takes this effort of creating tasks and then directly pushes them in your Slack or the
Hmm.
tool that you use. So I think particularly where like either you're trying to create a map of customer pain points or
Hmm.
objections or the phrases that you use or the tasks, I think
Hmm.
it's a great way to use these communications. And then
True.
uh, another thing that we do is all the calls that we do uh, with the customer, the success and everything, we have written some Gemini workflows that takes the call and all our calls are reviewed.
Hmm.
So we spent our time creating a evaluation metric
Hmm.
where like that, okay, if I'm going on a call, for example, in the sales call, what is the percentage, when like what is the threshold that you should be speaking versus
Hmm.
the client should be speaking? How much time did you spend on discovery? Did
Hmm.
you went like really deep into it, or was it superficial? Were you able to handle the objection well? uh,
Hmm.
did the customer, like what feeling did the customer left with? So we have defined a sort of a rubric.
Hmm.
Every sales call that we do goes through the tool,
Hmm.
goes through the agent, and then we get a call. And then we are sometimes we are not actually looking at the absolute numbers because there
Hmm.
might be some discrepancy in it.
Hmm.
But if you put like the 10 sales call that you have done, we
Yeah.
for sure see a directional
Absolutely.
change.
Absolutely. The judgment of the numbers might vary,
Yeah,
but you are able to build a correlation or a benchmarking
exactly.
out of it. And that's
Yes,
how we should look at.
yes.
Very interesting. One of my favorite agent, because you said Gemini, and we use Google Workspace and Gemini a lot. I somehow like the Google
Yeah,
ecosystem more than a lot of other
yeah.
ecosystems. Is my meeting recap agent.
Hmm.
So what I do, one of the key challenge with me, I have to deal with a lot of meetings
Yeah.
every day. And every time when I go into a meeting, the context switching is very, very difficult. Suddenly I have to remember, what did I speak last time? Where was it? What I asked to get it done? What are the challenges, etc. I can't recall. And I wasn't good at note taking.
Hmm.
What I've done is, one, made all internal calls default transcription to happen.
Hmm.
So Gemini, Google
Yeah.
Workspace allow that.
Yeah.
So every call starts with transcription, and then every transcription is stored in one of the specific folder on my Google Drive. Now then, there is a gem where I've given instruction that if I give you a topic, you have to find in this particular folder
Hmm.
and find either topic or the person name,
Hmm.
any meeting that has happened with that, and give me the recap of the meeting, especially the action items.
Yeah.
Prioritize last 30 days.
Interesting.
Now I created gem. I can, just before meeting, I used to just type like the person name or the topic name. It used to extract from past and used to give me the brief of it, which became very interesting.
Yeah.
And then couple of days back, I noticed Google launched Google Flows for our Workspace account.
Hmm.
So I took it one step extra. I then created a flow that before 10 minutes before every meeting, it checks my calendar, it integrated to
Hmm.
calendar. 10 minutes before every meeting, it picks up the again topic name and the people name in the meeting. It passes on to the same gem
Interesting.
extract and put it into my chat.
Oh, that's
I
pretty
don't have to even
interesting.
do that. I'm like
Yeah.
literally gone lazy there.
Yeah.
Now, every meeting, before 10 minutes before every meeting, I have a recap of it.
Hmm.
You'd have to deal yourself, when you switch so
I
much between every meetings to remember what you speak. Now it's like a note given to me that this is what you spoke last time. And
exactly.
these were the action item you should ask about.
Yes, yes.
Makes life so much easier.
Yes. In fact, like the way we this got adopted in our team. So Abhishek, because we were like very early stage trying to
Hmm.
figure out what's the right price point to go.
Hmm.
We were like experimenting with different price points, and
Hmm.
because there was no practice, he
Hmm.
used to be like, "Yeah, I just don't know what I quoted to him in the last call."
uh,
So that's and then like okay, makes a lot of sense to have these agents summarize the call for
yeah.
you, give you a recap, give you the action items, give you all
Uh,
the facts that you stated, and then that kind of got adopted as a process.
interesting. Interesting. The second favorite is, so you spoke about, covering the FAQs, the knowledge base. So we're trying to do that. We use a platform to manage our all knowledge base at one place. The problem is it's a democratic platform.
Yeah.
Anybody can participate to write any knowledge.
Hmm.
But the problem is not everybody is writing in a proper standard.
Yeah.
And then I created an agent there that whenever a team write a FAQ,
Mm-hmm.
they has to follow a certain standard, and based on the standard, it gives a score.
Hmm.
So the moment I before publishing it, send a score on my Google chat that this is a score, and below 80 you're not allowed to publish it.
Oh.
A lot of these FAQ go to our support portal as well,
Hmm.
which is crawled by Google and everything. Now we want it to be SEO friendly as well.
Yeah.
So we added that as a prompt as well. Now
Interesting.
every FAQ knowledge that is added on website or anything is evaluated by AI agents, etc. Now all these might be small things, and a lot of time even I question the outcome of it. Trust me, I think I can clearly define a lot of these outcome into some as good to have. In fact, most as good to have. It might not have a real value. Very little as time saving.
Yeah.
But at the end, I still push every team member to do all of these things to build a culture around it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And that's what we are trying to promote or push. That everybody should be AI first.
Yes.
Everybody should be thinking AI first, even though it makes sense right now, not. But should be thinking about it.
Fair
How do
enough.
we optimize? How do we make it, process effective, standardize, more of a guardrails, then, somebody monitoring and somebody doing it,
Fair
etc.
enough. Makes sense.
That's make life so easier. And can't imagine, just 2-3 years back how we were really supposed to do without all these
Yeah.
agents. It's
Yeah.
it's such a
Yeah. Now
difficult thing.
I sometimes think like how were like we even writing so much of code without using these all the coding tools that are out there made life so much easy.
Yeah.
But then like what I'm not sure if it is true for other departments. So in my company I see two factions. Faction which is like underutilizing these tools for productivity gains, and
Hmm.
the other faction is which is like abusing these tools for
Hmm.
uh,
And what would be the ratio?
I think the ratio is tech team is on the overutilizing part.
Okay.
Everyone is
Mm-hmm.
underutilizing else.
Okay.
Everyone else is underutilizing. So happens a lot. People come and ask like, okay, what does this rule mean?
Hmm.
Or like not even going and doing a deep research
Yeah.
about a
Yeah.
particular topic, which is like
Which is
becomes so
common,
easy.
Hmm.
Not getting the documents or emails like the first round of review done using
Hmm.
some tool, or very basic things like that. Like I saw someone like manually reviewing like lots of these first lines by themselves. So many tools which could go and like do a decent job. Check LinkedIn, like I was talking about, do
Hmm.
a very good job at it. But on the other side, I see my tech team sometimes like over abusing it, like writing thousands of lines of code without understanding what's going on.
Hmm.
So I had to go to the extreme step where like I had to like, yeah, this won't work like this.
Hmm.
1 week, no LLMs.
Hmm. Hmm.
I don't want any code in my repository which is written by LLM. You cannot let go of like if you stop lifting the muscle
Hmm.
like
Hmm.
a weight, you'll
Hmm.
lose that muscle.
Hmm.
So makes a lot of sense to keep rewiring it. I'm all for using, but
Hmm.
if that's the way you're going to push like
It's
lots
like
of
LLM
code,
detox.
yeah, this is like LLM detox. Otherwise, people forget like they can do things without.
True, that is
Yeah.
true. But as a founder, what are you doing to promote this, especially among people who are still not using it large? Because we see a lot of people, and I can see a bias, engineering or, non-operational roles
Yeah.
use it at great limits. But operational role, we still see people not even doing basics of it.
Hmm.
How do you really, as a founder, trying to set up the culture? What are some practices that you did to set up this culture of AI first?
Like I said, first thing that just talked about, like, because we have this habit of writing documentation. Now, all the documentation, if I am getting or any of the founder is getting a document, a Google Doc for a review, there should be a tab for if you got it reviewed from an LLM, and from all the items that it said, what have you already fixed,
Interesting. Interesting. Mm.
right? Like, if I get a document where
Mm.
there is no tab of like an LLM
Mm.
review, I won't
Mm.
even look at it,
Mm.
right? And then the quality of very basic objection
Mm.
that you would go like, yeah, why is the grammar not like, with small pedantic things which probably I should not be, but
Mm.
as a founder makes me want to be very
Yeah.
perfect with things
Yeah.
like you
Yeah.
said,
It's very
and
important.
makes like very important to, like, if the structure is not good, feels like, yeah, why am I
Yeah.
even looking at it,
Mm.
right? So people, like, I am not even opening and looking at that LLM review tab because
Mm.
I am so interested in document. But just because of this, we have seen that, okay, the kind of
Mm.
the documents or the reports that we are getting has
Mm.
gone up,
Mm.
right? Another thing, a few other things that we have done is like, uh, any, like, we started keeping a score of how many queries do you come to us with, which could have been answered with by an LLM,
Mm.
right? And whenever we do one-on-ones, that
Mm.
is something we, yeah, this week you asked this,
Mm.
why do you even need me for that?
Sure.
So I
I
think,
solved this problem another way. I liked your approach though. Uh, how I do it is, whenever somebody asks me something which I think, you could have checked on LLM, etc., I'll just query on LLM, typically ChatGPT. Will phrase a question asked there,
yeah.
and the answer, I'll share it as a link back to them.
Hmm.
It's like my way of saying them, you could have done
You
it
could have done
yourself.
this. Fair
People
enough.
get pissed off it.
Yes.
But I do it way often,
Yeah.
just to make sure people that they understand you should ask. And the best thing about using all these LLMs is you can ask any number of questions.
Yes.
So it is very important now, what you said some time back, like not stop thinking, but use it as to think multiple perspective,
Yes.
counter your own thoughts,
Exactly.
understand different scenarios with
Yeah.
it, challenge yourself,
Yeah.
etc., go deep into it. And
Exactly.
often I kind of show people by example and then share it back to them, and then like, you could have done it yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure.
That's
And
interesting. Yeah, life
uh,
is changing. Yeah.
a few more things that one particular thing we have this habit of sharing a lot of YouTube talks
Hmm.
that we saw, maybe some interesting thing.
Hmm.
So, and then it started happening that we are sharing a lot of documents
Hmm.
and videos, but people are not like, either they have I don't have time to read, I
Hmm.
would prefer a video, or I don't want to watch, prefer.
Hmm.
So there's this Google tool called Notebook LM.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
started pushing it a lot.
Yeah.
Don't want to read it, put it, talk to it,
Ah,
right?
true.
I have started adopting this, so all the drives that I like, if
Hmm.
I'm driving by myself,
Hmm.
so it like started from, earlier it was music,
Hmm.
then it moved to podcast. Now
Hmm.
every time I'm driving myself, my voice mode on Chat GPT is on, and
Hmm.
I'm conversing with it. Either it's
Interesting.
Notebook LM, so if there is like thousands of articles that I want to read, I put them in a notebook and talk to
Hmm.
it about, like, talk to my,
Yeah.
like, just talking. I'm
Yeah.
just trying to push here. There is something, you're walking, you're doing gym.
Hmm.
Better, like, if you are just looking for something, not just the work related thing,
Hmm.
but build this habit of being comfortable talking to AI or
Hmm.
conversing with it. Because I mean, as far as, like, if it's not something that you're, could be a very good starting point for brainstorming any kind of thing,
Hmm.
like you said, like, gives you multiple perspectives, can get you in the depths of it, bring
Hmm.
you all the ideas, and then final, it's your judgment, but can
Interesting.
fill you with all the facts.
Yeah. What is the best feature among all these in Notebook LM that you love? If you were to pick one.
I have to pick, if I have to pick one, is like putting all my articles
Hmm.
and then talking about it. Because if I am, but personally for me, if I am talking
Talking in
about,
the podcast mode that
yeah, yes,
yeah,
if
yeah.
like, and I do it both way.
Hmm.
Like you're the guest, I'm the guest.
Okay.
So the like, because if I'm asking questions about it,
Yeah,
helps me grasp the
yeah,
topic much
yeah,
better.
yeah, of
So
course.
I love that way of
Mm.
getting all the information.
So, Mehul, if you have to tell other fellow entrepreneurs about bringing this culture of AI agents in company,
Hmm.
what is one piece of advice you would like to give?
I think it starts from, like, first of all, uh, founders not believing in the capability of the AI.
Hmm.
Right? I have seen that is the biggest deterrence of people not pushing out this culture.
Hmm.
Right? And then the reason for that is primarily not trying to solve the 80% of the cases,
Hmm.
but then focusing too much on these extreme edge cases.
Hmm.
What would I do if some customers comes and tells me this? I mean,
Hmm.
you go and tell me, like, in your history of customer support, how
Hmm.
many times actually have a customer asked for this,
Hmm.
right? And if you are so worried about it, put a check if something like that comes redirected to me,
Hmm.
right? So I think it actually starts with first founders being very open with this idea of using LLMs,
Hmm.
actually using them enough so that they trust it and
Hmm.
not like directly get hung up on the extreme use cases.
Hmm.
And then I think that would be the first thing. And second thing is, like, there are like different levels how complex of workflows can you create, right?
Hmm.
Could be a single LLM call, like you're asking, putting a query and getting an answer.
Hmm.
Could be like multiple LLMs, like putting a query, getting some classifications, then further routing it to multiple LLMs. And then there are like these agentic frameworks which are like taking
Hmm.
decisions or routing and everything. Probably like the best way is start with the basic
Hmm.
uh, items. Start like using LLM first, then make those complex workflows, and don't go the other way around,
Hmm.
right? So that you don't burn yourself. Because it is, if you have never worked with like prompting a
Hmm.
single thing once, gets very difficult to build these agentic frameworks or the complete workflows, because now you're trying to optimize the complete thing rather than a piece of it. People
Hmm.
get burnt and then they are like, just doesn't work, right?
Interesting.
So I think it is, I think it starts from like any other thing, any other culture, goes top down,
Hmm.
right? So the biggest thing is founders being very comfortable using this tools, being an advocate for them. And the easiest way for it is like figure out what are the top use cases that will
Hmm.
fetch you the most ROI. Even in them, figure out what are the majority of the cases that you want to solve them first, show it, put it out there in the that it works. And then like we talked about a couple of things that they can do to propagate that culture in the team.
Interesting. Interesting. Good talking to you, Mehul. I think
Thank
had a
you.
lovely conversation. Hope you
Likewise.
enjoyed. Hope our
Yeah, it was great.
audience enjoy this. But this is like a very packed insights about AI agents, LLMs, etc.
Thank you so
Thanks
much.
for all your time today.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
for having me.